Bendy and the Ink Machine Chapter 3 is coming out? You betcha! Hey Prodigy's ProdCharles here, and in this video I'm going to share with you an in-depth analysis of the Bendy Chapter 3 release trailer. This video is going to have a lot of interesting information, so be sure to watch all the way through to make sure you don't miss out. Just before we begin, remember to subscribe and tap that bell for more cool and interesting horror game videos. And if you can't watch this all the way through right now, remember to tap Add To and select Watch Later to save your progress. Or just do it for fun. The trailer begins by zooming into an Alice Angel statue up some stairs. To the left we can see what looks like some kind of booth, and to the right we can see a bin. The booth on the left looks like it could have been used to sell tickets to go inside, as we can see an automatic entrance there that's struggling to close. Given that there's a loudspeaker to the left and right of the Alice Angel statue, perhaps this is the entrance to an Alice Angel themed attraction, a room where Alice fans experienced an Alice Angel themed fun room or some kind of ride. Perhaps Joey Drew's master plan was to extend the studio and turn it into some kind of amusement park for the cartoons, and bringing the cartoons to life was a major step in doing that. This would give a whole new meaning to the Bendy statue from the Chapter 3 reveal trailer. Perhaps it is just a statue, except in a Bendy amusement park. Except now there seems to be one for each character. Remember the message tweeted out by the official Bendy and the Ink Machine Twitter page? It says we have to beware more than Bendy. And we've already seen Boris, so we will have more cartoons to come across. This is really looking like we have a real confirmation that we might see Alice Angel, but should we beware her? Judging from the first Bendy and the Ink Machine trailer, it looks like the Bendy cartoon characters were brought to life and then they rebelled against their creators. The ominous appearance of this Alice Angel themed amusement area suggests that Alice Angel herself might come after Henry, but we're also getting conflicting messages from the end of Chapter 2, where it looked like Boris was going to be a really gentle character. This will also tie in with something later on in the video, so be sure to remember this. Perhaps Joey Drew's plan from the very beginning was to bring Henry to these amusement parks, and because the Ink Machine was so close to the entrance of the studio, Henry assumed that he was brought there to look at the Ink Machine. Another point suggesting that Alice Angel might be an enemy revolves around the brand new achievements for Bendy and the Ink Machine Chapter 3. It appears that players can now be awarded a Path of the Angel and Path of the Devil achievement. This suggests that there might be a similar room for Alice Angel as there is one for Bendy, and in fact the entire game might revolve around an escape room style gameplay. If we do end up teaming up with Boris the Wolf, he might end up taking the other path, and then we meet up on the other side. Of course, this might also mean that we only get attacked by searchers and Ink Bendy again, and the initial announcement trailer might have been hinting towards this Alice Angel themed amusement area. Although the messaging on that sign that Alice is holding up there might give further indication that Alice is an enemy that comes to chase us. She's quite a gal might indicate that she's quite the monster. She's quite a scary being that comes to chase after Henry, and Alice might end up being quite a handful in the end. Just as a cool side note, theMeatly released a tweet a while ago stating that Alice Angel is quite the girl, and it looks like this quote made it to the game, which is pretty cool. Continuing through the trailer, we can see the staple Bendy cutout hiding behind a door ready to scare Henry, and just like in the Chapter 3 reveal trailer, there seems to be a lot of leaky ink pipes, which makes me even more curious as to whether we will have a puzzle that tries to fix these leaky ink pipes, or if this leaky ink acts as an obstruction during the game. During this, we can also hear some heavy dropping sounds, as if they're footsteps. It sounds as if someone's walking around, and it's really solid. Could it be a human? An encounter with this character would sound really tense, since there is a heartbeat in the background of the trailer, and it would be cool to finally meet an actual human, one that hasn't been tainted by the ink, even though it sounds really scary. Before it fades out, we can see that there's another Little Devil Darling poster posted on the wall to the left. I think it's fascinating that there are so many references to this particular cartoon, and I'm hoping that we do actually get to see an animation based around the concept for this poster. I've said in the past that this poster might hint towards more intervention by Bendy, and I definitely don't doubt that. Whether we come across a room where we can actually watch this Bendy cartoon, or if it's just a prominent poster that lines the walls of Bendy's path, the Demon Path. Either way, it's an exciting inclusion, and something that we've been seeing for a long time now, in the teasers and images being released leading up to this moment. Just before we exit from this scene, I noticed that there are vents everywhere in this area. Why could that be? We can see them on the walls and along the ceiling. Could there really be an Alien Isolation style mechanic with our next set of enemies? Things sound really quiet in this trailer. We don't hear any music except at the very end, just ambient sound and other kinds of sound effects. So perhaps Bendy will randomly jump on the player if they make too much noise. And it looks like Bendy can strike from the sides as well as the ceiling. We can see ahead of us that there's a vent facing downwards with light passing through it. And just as a side note, I wonder whose room we're approaching here. Could Could it be Joey Drew's room? There's really not enough evidence to say, but let me know what you think. Maybe it's Norman Polk's. There is a new achievement called Norman's Fate, so perhaps we do end up meeting Norman Polk and end up deciding his fate. What that fate is, we can't really say for sure. The achievement shows a picture of a projector, so maybe Norman gets stuck in one of the cartoons. We saw in the reveal trailer for Bendy Chapter 3 that in Tombstone Picnic it looks like a human was actually roaming around in the cartoons. Perhaps the same thing happens to Norman depending on the events we take in the game. Given this, maybe Norman is the human that's walking around with such heavy footsteps around the studio. Why there would be such a heavy heartbeat overlaid over this sound though is a mystery. Could Norman Polk have been corrupted just like Sammy? Near the end of the trailer, we can hear Henry saying,
"Looks like it's really dark up ahead. Let's find some light."
This suggests that we will have inaccessible areas, potentially because of a power outage. However, just because he says let's find some light doesn't necessarily mean we will turn lights on. We might end up getting some kind of torch, and hey, if you can remember the plunger teaser, maybe that's what that actually was. It would be pretty funny if it is. On the other hand, the switching sounds that we hear before the release date appears seems to suggest that we do need to switch on some kind of power. It's also really interesting that he says let's. This doesn't necessarily mean that he's with someone or something. After all, he says let's at the beginning of chapter 1 when he has his little monologue about Joey and finding what he wanted Henry to see. Considering that Henry says I a lot in chapter 2, it's probable that he was really with someone and not talking to himself again. And who could that be? Judging from the couple of seconds that we've seen of Boris the Wolf, it most likely looks like him. What do you think? Of course, the end of the trailer also shows probably the most important piece of information, that the game will release on September 28, 2017 in USA time. Are you hyped? Well, get hyped for these videos that were picked just for you. Remember to tap my face to subscribe and tap that bell for more cool and interesting horror game videos. Check out the description for more chapter 3 hype videos, and prodigies, I really hope that these videos help you to expand on how you think, so it helps with your thinking in your daily lives. See ya!